Do you find yourself spending money irresponsibly from time to time on items that you do not need? Have you ever asked yourself, how much is enough? Do I really need 20 pairs of jeans? Is it hard to find something when you need it because you have to dig through items on items on items that you don't even use, want, or need? Do you feel overwhelmed when picking an outfit for the day because you have too many options? What I have found to be extremely helpful for my bank account and living space is to only purchase and own things that bring value into my life. When I was able to get clear on wants versus needs, I was able to make room for what mattered most to me, and I was able to begin living a minimalist lifestyle, which has been an absolute game changer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. Each week on these solo podcasts, I try to share some insights on topics to help you become the best version of yourself. Do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. This is just my bearded wisdom that I hope brings value to you. Now, if you enjoy this podcast at any moment in time, all that I ask is please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you're listening in on. Post it to your IG story. Tag me at Bob-A. That's B-O. 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Share out the podcast on your IG story and let me know what the biggest takeaway was, what the learning was. Tell all your followers they need to be listening to this podcast, and it would be so much appreciated. As well as if you have not yet already signed up for the weekly Bearded Wisdom newsletter coming in hot every Tuesday, and you'd like to get that newsletter in your inbox, please head over to itsthebeardedman.com to join. Weekly wisdom delivered directly to your inbox. What else could you ask for? That's itsthebeardedman.com to join. You can also find the website linked up in the show description of this episode. Minimalism. What is a minimalist lifestyle? It means living with things that you really need. It means removing anything that distracts you from living with intentionality and freedom. Here are some facts. Adult Americans throw away more than 68 pounds of clothing every year. Think about how much clothes that actually is. My guess, that's a lot. 20 to 21% of working Americans say they aren't saving any money for retirement. Now, that's probably because they're out spending the money on shit they don't need. The average American household has 300,000 items, and I would love to know how many of those items they've actually touched, looked at, or used in the past 12 months. Drum roll, please. Brrr. I'm sure it is not a lot. If one thing is clear from these facts, it's that we love to spend money, and I can't blame you because we work hard for it. But in all seriousness, how much is enough? That is the tough question we must ask ourselves. I had no idea what the word minimalism even meant until I stumbled across a documentary called Minimalism, a documentary about the important things. Now, it was ironic timing that I watched this doc on Netflix probably 2016, because it was a pivotal moment in my life where I was graduating college. I didn't have a job figured out, and I was about to take the leap and start my first podcast. And the immediate takeaways that I had from this doc were be more aware of where I'm spending my hard-earned money. Ask yourself, what are your wants versus your needs before making a purchase? Get rid of the clutter in my living space, the things that I do not need or use. And do not overindulge when it's not necessary or needed, right? I think 6 to 7 pairs of pants is plenty. There's no need to own literally the entire summer collection. It's just unnecessary. Now, historically, I have always been someone who was very cautious of where I spent my money because I had to work hard for the things that I wanted to buy. This lifestyle, this perspective of truly living within our means made it even clearer for me. Now, being a minimalist became a playbook that I wanted to play by. I didn't want my closet to be stacked with shit that I don't wear. I don't want to have excess amounts of things that bring zero value in my life. I want to have a clean living space that is filled with things that have purpose in my life. And if it doesn't, we're tossing it out or we're donating it as soon as possible. Now, I can say 5+ years later, I still do my best to live a minimalist lifestyle. Even my mother joked when I was coming back to LA a couple weeks ago after traveling back east. She made a comment, well, it won't take you long to unpack since you're a minimalist. And you better believe she was right. I pack light. I don't need to bring tons and tons of clothes. I just need enough to get me through the week. And to live a minimalist lifestyle, I've had to, learn to not cave to society's expectations. I don't need to update my wardrobe every season. I don't need to own several watches to flash off when meeting people. I don't need to have a car that I can barely afford just to impress a date. All I need to do is live within my means and make purchases when something is truly going to bring value into my life. Now, since this realization and this lifestyle change, there have been some real positives that have come from it. I've been able to clear physical and mental space. Less unwanted stuff laying around the house gives me more physical room, but it also provides a sense of mental clarity. When I need something, I can find it because there's not a lot of shit to dig through. It's also put more money into my pocket since I'm not spending it on unnecessary things. And the goal of minimalism isn't to live with the least amount of items. It is only to surround ourselves with the things that are absolutely crucial to our lives. It is living with items of intention and purpose. So here are the 4 rules that I have found to living a minimalist lifestyle. 1, get rid of the clutter. Before I bring any new item into my life, I first need to take inventory of what I already own. Now, I like to live by this 6-month rule where if I haven't touched, used, or wore something in more than 6 months, I probably should get rid of it. Now, of course, there are exceptions, like clothes that are made for the winter and we're right in the middle of summer. I recognize the only reason I haven't worn these items is because of the season we're in. On the other hand, if there are a handful of t-shirts that I haven't touched, worn, or care to wear, why continue to hold on to it? If I'm not going to wear it, get rid of it. And instead, I just donate it. Or like I said, if I have to get rid of it, I'll find a way, and sometimes maybe it has to end up in the trash. I make space for the things that matter to me in my life. That's what getting rid of the clutter is all about. So clearing the clutter frees up physical space in my house, and it provides more mental clarity as my living space isn't filled with a bunch of useless items. Number 2, live with intention. Now this might sound a little cray-cray, but I try to look at all the items that I own and ask myself, how is this thing bringing value to my life? My desk provides a space for me to work and be creative. Books provide me knowledge to help me learn and grow. My bed is where I rest and get re-energized for the next day. My microphones allow me the ability to record podcasts. These are items that are clearly providing value to my life, and they are intentionally part of my life. Living without intention would mean owning 6 different spatulas for no apparent reason. Now, if you're a chef, well, that's a little different. Maybe you do need 6. But if you're the bearded man and you ain't a chef, you probably only need 1. Owning the BMW that I can barely afford that does not bring true value into my life. It may make me feel cool or confident, but at some point, it'll be normalized to me and my lifestyle. The goal of a vehicle is to get you from A to B. Now, obviously, there's different levels and different styles of cars that you can purchase, but there's no need for me to buy a car that I can barely afford just to fit into what society claims as to be cool. Another example would be owning 15 pairs of pants when I choose to wear the same handful every single week. Do I really need to own 15, or could I maybe get away with 7 or 8? By getting intentional about what I own and determining if it actually does bring value to my life, I can make space for what matters and hold myself back from buying things that I truly do not need. Number 3, this is very important. Wants versus needs. My sister loves to chime in when she's about to make a purchase, and she always says, wants versus needs. Am I right, bearded man? She's correct. Now that I've gotten rid of the clutter in my life and I've determined what brings value to my life, I need to be very cautious of what I do bring into my life. If I'm about to make a purchase, I ask myself, do I need this or do I want this? Now, wanting something means I can live without it. I just want it because I like it. The new iPhone 12, the iPhone 12, even though I just got the iPhone 11, that pretty much does the exact same thing. Is this phone really going to enhance my creativity, or do I just want it because it's new and it's flashy? And there's a big difference. But needing something means it's going to bring value to my life. It is necessary. It is crucial to my lifestyle. So for example, if my mouse from this computer breaks, I would need to buy a new one. There's no debate. It's crucial for my productivity. So I don't stress, I don't overthink, or waste any energy debating if I should buy a new one. I just do it because I understand this brings value to my life. Now, everyone's wants and needs are much different than one another. I have to be honest with myself because I know there is no right or wrong answer when making a purchase. Nobody is over my shoulder to say, hey, Mr. Bearded Man, are you sure you need that? I have to check myself every time before I make that purchase. Do I really, really need this? What I have found to be extremely helpful is determining the few areas of my life that I spend unapologetically on, which happens to be experiences, dinners with friends, events, yoga classes, flights, concerts, etc. Because I've determined what I value spending my money on, I know that the less money I spend on things that I do not need, the more money I get to spend on the areas of my life that mean the most to me. When getting clear on wants versus needs, it allows us to focus more time, energy, and money on what we value the most. Number 4, material items don't bring happiness. Now, I can only speak on my behalf, but when I recognize that things, items, clothes, etc., don't make me happy, it made it all that much easier for me to live a minimalist lifestyle. Now, at a base level, think back to when you're a kid and you desperately wanted that new pair of shoes or that pair of jeans or that t-shirt, or literally just think about any item that comes to mind. You would do anything to get it. Maybe you begged your parents for weeks, or you saved up from working a part-time job to have enough funds to make the purchase. And the day comes, you buy it, and you feel like you are on top of the world. Your happiness cup is filled to the brim. You feel that way the day after, or maybe a couple days after if you're lucky. But at some point, we are on to wanting the next thing, and then the next thing. It is a hamster wheel of chasing what we think that, or the material item that will bring us a lifetime of happiness that ultimately never does. Now, because I've accepted that no material item will bring me a lifetime of happiness, I don't put nearly as much time or money into buying things unless it is a need or provides value in my life. That expensive car, that expensive watch, that house, that piece of clothing does not make me any better than the next person. So why do I buy into the hype, or why should I buy into the hype? The material items, because it's a nice car, it's a great brand, it doesn't make me better than anybody else. So instead, I just stay in my lane and I focus on what truly brings me happiness, and I cut out all side distractions. It's that simple. Material items will never be our ticket to a lifetime of happiness. To recap, living a minimalist lifestyle is about living a lifestyle that only includes material items that bring value and have purpose in our life. If it does not fit into either of those buckets, we must get rid of it. When we live within our means and don't buy into the hype of what society makes us try to feel we need, we are able to create physical and mental space for the things that matter most to us. Not only that, but we're able to grow that bank account way up since we're not spending it on useless items. 4 rules to living a minimalist lifestyle. Number 1, get rid of the clutter. Clearing the clutter frees up physical space in my house, and it provides more mental clarity as my living space isn't filled with a bunch of useless items. Number 2, live with intention. By getting intentional about what I own and determining if it actually does bring value to my life, I can make space for what matters most and hold myself back from buying things that I truly do not need. Number 3, wants versus needs. When getting clear on wants versus needs, it allows us to focus more time, energy, and money on what we value the most. Number 4, material items don't bring happiness. Material items will never be our ticket to a lifetime of happiness. My challenge for the listeners, that is you, beautiful ladies and gentlemen. My challenge for you is to do one of two things. First, please watch the documentary on Netflix, Minimalism, a documentary about the important things. It will provide a ton of perspective, and it will explain minimalism 10 times better than me. And the actual documentary has tons of different examples of people from different backgrounds, different careers, of how they are living minimalistically. So please, please, please watch that whenever you get a chance. Second thing, start with your bedroom and pile up all the things, the items that you have not used in 6+ months. Donate and get rid of it. Now, if you're nervous to get rid of certain items, place them in a box and see if you look or touch them or go looking for them in the coming weeks. If you don't, I think it is clear that that item is not providing value to your life, and maybe it's time to get rid of it. Questions from the BMC. I had one question submitted for the minimalist topic of this week. Question is coming in from Ben. He said, how to get over the hump of getting rid of things you no longer need but feel bad letting go. So tossing something out that may have a deeper value to us can be hard. And I would say maybe don't just toss it out immediately, but prove to yourself that this item truly has no value to your life today. You can do this through a couple of steps. First, apply the 6-month rule that I mentioned earlier. Have you used this item within the past 6 months? If no, that's the first sign that it brings zero value to your life today. Next, as I was saying before, I would put these items in a box or leave it in your closet and see if you need to look for it within the coming weeks. If not, that is another sign that it is not bringing value to your life today. Now I understand there are items that have stories, right, for why they mean something to us, and that's always an exception. I'm not saying toss out your high school t-shirt that maybe has all your friends' signatures on it. If it means something to you, then keep it. But for the most part, I'm sure there are things that we make up a scenario of why we should keep it, when in reality, we really know we should just get rid of it. My best tip of advice for you, Ben, is to apply the 6 months rule, put these items into a bag or a box, and reassess if it really does matter to you in the coming weeks. Pod review of the week. This week, we have my man, Vlad. He said his actual name on the podcast app, which I love. It says Vlad-I Run Miami. This guy sounds like an absolute baller. He said, as the title of the review, Energy Source Podcast. He gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Let's go. Always love to see that. The review says, Bob on the podcast shares his journey, habits, and lessons with mellow, inspiring energy and humor, which makes it so unique and easy to relate to. Always ready for the new issues when I'm not ready for more intense podcasts. That's the goal of this podcast, Vlad. Especially, I would say, a lot of these solo podcasts where I really get to dive into topics that are relevant in my life. And I love that you made the comment about humor, because as much as I'm trying to help not only myself become the best version of myself, but also you as the listeners, I hope that it can be humorous. I don't want to come off as somebody that thinks he has it all figured out and has all the answers. I am just a normal guy with a decently good-looking beard, and I'm just trying to provide some beard of wisdom. And as I've said many times, I don't have all the answers. This is just my beard of wisdom, so I hope it brings value to you guys and gals. But I really appreciate you listening, Vlad, and if I ever am in Miami, I know that you're the guy to call because it says, I Run Miami. So thank you for taking the time to write the review, Vlad. If you would like to be the review of next week's podcast, please head over to the iTunes podcast app, jot down your review. It could be one word, it can be a sentence, it could be a couple sentences. Totally up to you. Right now, we are at 69 ratings. That's right, 69 reviews, not too bad. We'd like to get up to 100 ASAP. So if you have not written a review, please do so, and it would be so appreciated. That's it for today's podcast. If you guys enjoyed this podcast at all, this episode, minimalism, my biggest thing that I could ask for would just be screenshot this episode, post it on your IG story, tag me at Bob Bay. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Shout out the pod in your IG story and just let me know what the biggest takeaway was. What did you learn from this episode? How did it shift your perspective on wants versus needs? I'd be super curious to know what you thought of the episode. And if you have any topic you would like me to cover in the coming weeks, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I'm always open. I have a list of other topics I can hit in the coming weeks. But if you have something you would like me to cover, please hit me up. I am so open to it, and I would love to cover that in an episode. The last thing I will say, if you have not yet already signed up for the Bearded Wisdom newsletter, hit the link in the description or go to itsthebeardedman.com and sign up today. Weekly wisdom in your inbox every single Tuesday. What else could you ask for? This is episode 111, Becoming a Minimalist, Determine Wants versus Needs, and Make Room for What Matters Most. I hope you guys and gals have a great week ahead of you. Keep crushing it, keep doing the thing, and a lot more content on the way. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya!